morning, Mr. Breakfast! Can I have some Mr. T cereal? Okay! Pity the poor fool! Don't eat my cereal!
Okay, retro go. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait, You Haven't Seen? It's a show where we talk about movies and specifically talk about a movie at least one of us has never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, aka TV's Travis. This is episode number 313. And our movie this week, from all the way back in 1985, it's Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And here to talk with me about it, it's the man himself, Tony P Henderson. Tony, how you doing?
Hey, what is going on? 85. Oh
Yeah.
man, I wish can we cut that part out? I'm at that point now where I'm like, oh, that was 85. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
All
I know.
right.
And then on top of that, it's like, and I was around then too.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
All right. So, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. What is your history, with this movie, but also kind of the character of Pee-wee in general? How familiar with Paul Reubens and this character were you?
Yeah, man. So, Pee-wee's Big Adventure has always been my favorite movie of all time. Whenever that question comes up, it's immediate. Like it's locked and loaded. Nothing has topped it for me. Just has a special place in my heart. And I was thinking about it because I was like, oh, he's gonna ask how did I first see it? When did I first see it?
Mhm.
And it's a mystery. I honestly think I stumbled on it on like HBO.
Okay.
So I didn't see it in a theater. So what'd you say? 85?
Yep.
I would have been like 6, So
Yeah.
I wasn't I didn't go to the theater and see it. I think I stumbled on it on HBO, probably thought it was a fever dream or something,
Mhm.
and was just honestly, and still to this day, utterly obsessed for one reason or another. And followed everything Pee-wee Paul Reubens after that. So I saw the movie first, again on TV or something, and then immediately jumped into Playhouse when that came out.
Yep.
Saturday morning cartoon or Saturday morning show. And just followed every single thing after that. The unfortunate Big Top Pee-wee, which we can get into. The Netflix revival or third movie, if you will.
Mhm.
Even saw him in person, even saw a screening. So
That's
yeah, just
cool.
been a fan forever.
That's awesome. So I grew up with Pee-wee's Playhouse on Saturday mornings. Definitely was into that. I've seen Big Top Pee-wee a couple of times. I remember seeing that when I was a kid. And it's been probably 25 years since I maybe saw Big Top Pee-wee. So I don't remember a ton about it. I didn't hate it but as a kid, you kind of mostly like everything. But this one, for some reason, I had never watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is crazy to me because I love Pee-wee and I love Tim Burton. Like I've really liked Tim Burton's movies. So how this one I happen to miss, I don't know. But now that I've fixed that, now I've seen it. And
It flies under a lot of people. I mean, it flies under a lot of people's radars. It's not on any list. It
Mhm.
didn't win any awards. A lot of people aren't diehard big Pee-wee Herman fans. It was just kind of a goofy character from the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
So I've met plenty of people that have not seen it. I give them dirty looks. I don't trust them. But yeah, I've met, like I said, it's just not the most common of movies.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because I think that today we don't realize quite what the phenomenon of something like a Pee-wee Herman was in the 80s. I mean, to get your own movie is one thing. To get your own movie and a Saturday morning show based off of a character that was part of like stand-up routine, basically, or something along those lines, because it started as live performances, right? It was the
Yeah, it was
late 70s, early 80s. He was doing kind of underground live performances, I think.
Yep. It was a comedy show, like a stage show.
Mhm.
He was a part of the Groundlings.
That's right.
And
That's what it
so
was.
it was a character he developed in the Groundlings and did on Broadway, or not on Broadway, on stage. And the idea was it's like an adult man child, that adult man child that is like, into kid stuff, not in a weird, creepy way. And we can get into that too.
Sure.
But just as a silly, like trying to hold on to his youth, kind of silly, goofy show. And the stage show was very adult. It had adult
Mhm.
jokes and adult humor. The movie had some adult humor, and then by the time it got to Playhouse, it was a kid show.
It was, but it was definitely one that when I've gone back and watched a few episodes, and it's not super subversive, but there's a little bit in there. He's gonna slide some stuff in every once in a while because that's what comedians do. And I have found too, kid shows do a lot. Like there's a lot of stuff they slip in there that to just go over kids' heads.
Oh, there's so much in SpongeBob
Oh,
and
oh yeah.
they,
It's
like you said, they definitely slide it in there, no pun intended.
watching this too, because I hadn't watched much with Pee Wee Herman in a little while. And watching this made me think, okay, number one, right off the bat, this is dead set in the middle of the 80s. And it's very of its time. But it also feels like something you might see today. It's a weird way that goes about because we don't have, I think the difference being is Pee Wee Herman was a character that Paul Rubens created and played, and he would be Pee Wee Herman. But it was still, there was a creator behind that, and this was a persona he would put on. So it was very similar in that vein to something like Mike Myers playing Austin Powers, right? Where he would create this character and then just be that for whatever project he was in. Same with Wayne Campbell, whatever. I feel like today, if this started now, that persona would be all you would know that person for, if that makes sense.
No, it
And
makes
it would,
perfect sense. Yeah.
and it would almost be like, and you would be getting, it would be all over social media, and it would just be who they are instead of a character that they create.
Almost like I would equate it to like a wrestler.
In a lot of ways, yes. Actually,
Which,
that's
funny
a
enough,
good one.
Pee Wee showed up on wrestling a couple times.
Of course he did. Of course he did. I can see that too. I can see those circles kind of interacting a little bit because, again, it's an over the top character. What better place to toss it in than professional wrestling, which is nothing but over the top characters? Like, it's great. But yeah, like growing up watching Pee Wee's Playhouse, the zaniness that was, and you kind of slipped and said like Saturday morning cartoon. Well, Saturday morning show, it was a cartoon for all intents and purposes. It might as well have been a cartoon. Watching this movie, I saw so much of what became that show in this, but also you could see where it was still refining the character and still kind of like really sculpting who Pee Wee Herman was in this, and it was kind of neat. It was kind of neat to see all that.
It's also fun to see that same thing you just said, refining and sculpting Tim Burton.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So that is his first feature length movie. Before that, he did the short for Frankenweenie.
Yes.
And I don't remember who found somebody. It might have been Paul Rubens or one of his friends or somebody said, "Hey, I saw this short. It's really weird and wacky. You'd get along with this dude." And they're like, "Sure." So they got this, believe it or not, at the time, literal no-name weirdo to direct the movie, for probably next to nothing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure Warner
and
Brothers loved that he was cheap.
yeah,
Right?
I don't think anybody really I don't think it was a big like this movie's gonna be great and people are gonna love it. It was, so yeah, kind of cheap.
Well, and it was all young people too. Like Tim Burton's getting his start. He's a fan of Oingo Boingo, as is Paul Rubens, and so they got a hold of Danny Elfman, and Danny Elfman's like, I don't know how to do that. And they're like, no, come on, we want you to. Apparently, he was going to turn it down. and he was all set to, and his manager or his agent or whoever was like, all right, you tell Tim Burton that. And he, as the story goes that I heard anyway, is that he got on the phone with him and was ready to tell him no, and then for some reason decided not to, and then thought he was just going to do like a song, but it became the whole thing. And now like Danny Elfman is, I mean, talk about launching a whole other career for him. And
just think, yeah, he was. I mean, Oingo Boingo was pretty big at the time, but like he wasn't that big, you know. And like you said, he didn't do movies.
Just imagine.
And so yeah, now the two of them are, you know, joined at the hip, Tim Burton and Elfman.
Like Elfman would have had a good career. He'd still be playing, you know, some shows, Oingo Boingo revivals. They would have done their thing, but he wouldn't be the name that he is now because he's so much more than just, oh, that dude does some music. And like his style is very recognizable, but he's also scored a whole bunch of stuff you would never believe that he was a part of.
Just if it wasn't for Pee-wee's Big Adventure, yeah, I'll say this, you never would have had that Batman soundtrack.
Right?
You know,
I mean, the Batman soundtrack, which also he did the opening theme for the Flash TV series back in 1990. And just all the stuff that he's done with Burton. I love Danny Elfman's composing and his scores. I always enjoy listening to his rock stuff, but man, his scores are some of my favorites. Like I put them right up there with, I love Howard Shore, his Lord of the Rings stuff, unreal. But Danny Elfman has some of the most, Danny Elfman is in that level to me of a John Williams in terms of creating a melody that you instantly recognize. Like you hear a John Williams score, you know a John Williams score. Straight out. And Danny Elfman's the same way. It starts playing, you're like, oh, Danny Elfman did the music for this.
100% agree. I would put them honestly side by side. I think because the Elfman movies, are usually Tim Burton movies and they're usually weird and silly, people don't recognize him as much, but yeah, it's certainly up there. And I sincerely love the Pee-wee soundtrack. It's just,
oh, it was fun. It was so much fun.
It's good. It's so good.
And to be a first score for him is crazy. Like a first feature film for Tim Burton, a first feature film score for Danny Elfman, a first feature film script for Paul Rubens. Phil Hartman co-wrote this. And their other writer, third guy was Michael Verrill. And what I loved was they had never written a script. The IMDb trivia, take this with a grain of salt, but I found this one pretty fun. They hadn't written a script before, so they bought a book on script writing, sat down, wrote this, and their script was 90 pages, and the movie was 90 minutes, and it ended Act 1 at 30 minutes, it ended Act 2 at 60 minutes, and supposedly this is a script that gets used as a here's how you write a script type of thing.
Because it's all the beats at the right times.
Yeah. Like they just painted by numbers, they followed the formula, and it worked. And that I love that. I absolutely adore that.
And it moves. When you watch it, you're like, yo, this stuff's happening in this movie. You know, it's not just a lot of quote unquote goofy movies, not to be confused with the Goofy movie,
right?
But
that's a different
thing. Silly movies, they're just silly for the sake of silly, and they don't really go anywhere. And it's just let's just be silly. But the adventure part, they're moving. It's happening. You know.
Yeah, and it's because they made the stakes in this small and fit Pee-wee Herman. Like here's this man-child who just lives in his own world. We never know at least in this movie, you don't know what he does. He's just sort of independently wealthy, I guess. Has a house full of all sorts of stuff and a yard full of stuff. But the whole adventure hinges on his bike. And man, if you had a good bike when you were a kid, boy, I still have. In fact, I had a friend of mine stop by recently, and as he was leaving, he looked over and he saw my bike hanging in the garage. He's like, is that the same? You've had that bike for like 25 years. Or more, 27 years. I'm like, yeah, no, same bike. It's a good bike. Can't get rid of it. You know? So I totally got that. But I liked that because this does have the feel watching it this first time of comedy movies, especially early comedy movies. Like I noticed this in Broken Lizard's Super Troopers. The first one is very much a collection of sketches that they kind of weave a plot into. And then by the time they were doing Beer Fest a couple movies later, they had kind of refined that down and been able to get like a much more cohesive narrative. And I noticed that with a lot of comedy stuff, whether it's a comedy troupe or like an individual person coming up with a character, you get that to early on. So like this did have that feel a little bit of like, here's some fun bits we want to do. And then
you can tell, like you said, they want to write the jokes first, you know,
which,
and that's fine. You know, I get it.
That's how you do it.
And then, yeah, like you said, how do we get them to the next piece? How do we get them to Francis's house?
Yep.
But you mentioned Phil Hartman. Yeah, he was one of the writers. They were buddies in the Groundlings.
Mm-hmm.
Hartman was a member of the Groundlings. Jan Hooks, who went on to be in Saturday Night Live, was a member of the Groundlings.
That's right.
She's given the tour at the Alamo.
Oh, she was great.
Cassandra Peterson was a member of the Groundlings, who most know as Elvira.
Yeah.
She's the bike gang leader at the end, or towards the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just all their buddies, you know.
And you know what? Like that's what Adam Sandler does a lot of that, right? Where he just gets his friends into movies, and
he just mentioned Broken Lizard, same thing. It's their troop, their friends, you know.
And I'm all about that. Like, get your friends some work. It's fun. You know, you're going to get along. Most likely, you're going to hang out. And even if it's like you bring in Cassandra Peterson for a day or two, right? That's all you need for her. But it's a memorable thing now. Like that character, like because that scene is super fun anyway. And it's all these big guys, and then you know, holy crap, it's Elvira out of nowhere. Like I just love that kind of stuff. Or the stuff with apparently initially they wanted to get Andre the Giant to play Andy, but he was busy, he couldn't do it. So instead they got somebody arguably bigger than Andre the Giant in terms of stature. The guy that played him, played Andy, was his name is John Harris, and he was a pro wrestler for a short period of time under the name Silo Sam, and he's listed at somewhere between 7'5" and 7'7". So he's probably, you know, a shade over 7 feet tall. But it was when I first saw him in the movie, I'm like, oh, it's a pretty big guy. And then when you got that shot of Pee Wee running across the field and him lumbering after him, I was like, holy crap, that guy is gigantic.
He's a monster. Like he's legitimately scary. And then the guy shortly after that scene when he gets on the train, the hobo.
Hobo Jack is Carmen Philby.
Yeah.
Carmen Philby.
Another character actor. Yeah.
If you needed a hobo or somebody like that in the 80s, you got a hold of Carmen Philby and you got him in your movie, because he did that all the time. He would pop up and stuff constantly. He's just got a very unique look.
I watched a lot of old shows, and you're not kidding. Like he's popped back up. He was in an episode of 227, which, funny enough, they did an episode with Pee Wee. All, like, for those that don't know, 227 was about an African American family, a black family in DC.
Yeah,
and it was not if you're gonna look at a list of shows and pick, hey, who would have the Pee Wee Herman cameo? It wouldn't be that one, and yet.
Yeah, 227 is not making my list of potential Pee Wee cameos at all.
And sure enough, so I don't know. I've always meant to go look where the connection was, like for them and the hobo guy. I'm like, maybe there's a casting person or somebody somewhere has a connection. But yeah, that's your little fun fact. That's
great. No, Carmen Philby, I mean, he shows up in a wide range of stuff too. Like he plays a drunk priest in Halloween 4 that picks up Donald Pleasance and all that kind of stuff. He's in the first Wayne's World. He plays Old Man Withers. Like it was just old. In fact, two of his known fors on IMDb are Old Man Withers and Old Man in Bar. Like he's got that kind of a career. It's sort of like what's his name? Guglielmi, who always plays Hector in every movie. You know him. You Noel Guglielmi. You don't know the name, but you've seen his face and everything, because if you needed a Hispanic gangster,
You're like, oh, that's Hector. Yeah.
you cast him and he would just show up in everything for like 10 years.
You know, he had the I hate to keep calling him Hobo, but that was the character in
that was his
Pee-wee.
name.
Like, he had a lock. He had the corner of the industry.
Yes, he did. And the scene with him is hilarious because it starts off like Pee-wee gets on the train, he wakes up, and I love like sardine, and he just goes to hand. No, those are on a train and they're probably like not warm, they're hot. They've been sitting in a hot train.
I'll admit, as many times as I've watched this movie, and as much as I legitimately think about it, I've never thought of hot sardines.
There's like I don't mind sardines. I don't want hot out of the can sardines.
No, nothing. I don't want anything remotely warm with my canned fish.
No. But then like it's them singing train songs, like just sitting on the train singing songs. And I love how that scene goes, because you get a little bit of the song cut, a little bit more of the song, like keep smash cutting between them. And Pee-wee, the most annoying character in the world, Pee-wee Herman, slowly getting more and more annoyed by this hobo John or hobo Jack. It's perfect. It's so good. Like
until he jumps out, which I feel like I've been in many conversations in work meetings where I just want to roll out a train. Like that's it. I've had enough.
Yep.
We got to jump back because earlier in the movie, as big number 2 on the cast, I'm sure it was E.G. Daily, who played Dottie, who went on to be a huge voice actor.
Yes.
E.G. Daly's done everything. And I think she also had a short-lived musical career.
I think so. I had completely forgot. Like I heard the voice and I'm like, I know that. Why do I know that voice? Like, what is it triggering for me? And the first thing that popped into my head was Rugrats and Tommy Pickles.
Yep. I was going to say, it's Tommy Pickles. It's
and her character in this is great because Dottie is just all about Pee-wee and really just laying it on thick, trying to get with Pee-wee, and he has no interest. But she's not going to give up. And she's a lot of fun, like even showing up with his bike later and him so excited to see the bike and not her.
They did Dottie kind of dirty.
They did. She was,
and I mean,
she was fantastic.
She gets to go to the movie at the end and she gets to be a special guest, and that's the extent of it. So I will say to that point, Paul Reubens has said when he created Pee-wee Herman, he didn't want him to have a sexuality because he's a kid. He's a young kid, and young kids, aren't into girls and aren't into guys or whatever, A lot of people wanted to project that the Pee-wee character was gay, and he was like, no, he's just a young character. He's just, that doesn't even cross his mind, so. Which
I think also is something that today would resonate, I think, a lot more. Because
you mentioned that,
he's just a young asexual, being. He doesn't care about that. It's not that he doesn't like it. It's just not even on his radar.
Exactly. Bikes first,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bikes over everything.
Yes. The bikes in this movie though, holy crap. Like, first of all, the scene where he's riding down the street and you see everybody on their BMX bikes, it took me right back to the mid 80s. Cause I'm like, man, those were the bikes to have back then, were them little BMX bikes to ride around. And here's Pee-wee on this big red cruiser. I loved that bike, and I loved all the shots that were, the truck pulling it so he can do all his weird, goofy tricks. Were so great.
I think there's 3 of them, 2 or 3 of them in existence. I've never seen it. It's next on my list of things to do. One's in a museum somewhere.
Okay.
And I think 1 or 2 are owned private. I think Pee-wee might have had one. One's in a museum. Paul Reubens, I think, had one. And then J.J. Abrams, I think, owns one.
Okay. I could see that.
because when
You know.
you're a big time movie director, you can find those things and afford to
Sure.
get them.
Must be nice.
So yeah, he was doing an interview or something and he had it there. I was like, man, what the fuck? But yeah, so they designed, the super special.
It's such a
super
cool
bike.
looking bike too. Like it's just this. It's exactly what a kid would want a bike to be. And so Pee Wee has the means to be able to have that bike. And I love then when he shows up at the mall, right? And this is old school, like outdoor mall. And he's just pulling the chain out for like 40 seconds to wrap that bike up. And the whole time it's going on, this movie had a lot of clowns in it. I was not prepared for the number of clowns in this movie.
I think that's a Tim Burton thing. Yeah, and they're all creepy.
Uh-huh.
None of them are good clowns.
Ooh, no. Well, I mean, it's Tim Burton again. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But that clown is just waving back and forth, and he chains the bike up. You can't see the bike under the chains. It's perfect. It's such a good gag.
That scene gets me every time because it's so simple. Like it's just such a simple gag, and there's actually edits where you can see, like, when they adjusted things for widescreen and DVD and all that was happening. There were edits and cuts of the movie where you could see under the basket where the chain was coming from. Like it was like an error.
Yeah.
And I almost think it makes it better because it's such a simple gag. But damn it gets me every time. You would think I'd never seen it before. I
think that's the thing with this movie that worked so well is it didn't try to be too cute. It kept its gags very simple and just let the absurdity of them and then the performances of Paul Rubens and everybody around him just carry it. And so kept the comedy, like that made it feel still funny, and I'm seeing it for the first time almost 40 years later.
That little shopping center is in Santa Monica. I used to live in California and stumbled on that shopping center. There's some things I've explicitly gone to because I was like, oh, it's from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. But I did not know. I was like, why does this look familiar? This is weird. What the? And I was like, oh my God, it's the bike shop. So yeah, I just, all that to say, I've been there. I was freaking out like, this is where the bike, and my friends were like, yeah, we get it, man, calm down.
Was Chuck's bike shop?
Stoked. Yes, Chuck's Bike-orama.
Yes, the magic shop. I loved that magic shop. The worst lighting for a shop ever. Just go in there, you can't see anything. But I guess if you're selling magic stuff, you don't want them to see it, right? Just buy it sight unseen. But that was great, and I definitely, I as I like to do, captured some audio, and there was a good one of the magic shop owner saying hi to Pee Wee. I want to see if I can find this. Yeah, this was when he walks in. It was, what was his name that ran the magic shop?
I'm ashamed I don't know.
Mario.
Yes,
Mario. And when Pee Wee walks in, you just get,
where you going, Pee Wee?
Oh no, sorry, that was the wrong one. That wasn't it. That was, I think, okay.
There's no bad Pee Wee's Big Adventure clips.
There's no bad clips. You tell me though. What I hear, I'm going to play this, and I want to know what you hear, and then I'll tell you what I heard and why I captured it.
Where you going, Pee Wee?
What scene is that?
This is when he is getting up from passing out in the bike shop when his bike got stolen.
When he honks the horn.
He honks the horn and he honks the horn and passes out, and then the paramedics are there, the cops are there, and they tell him, like, we can't do anything about it. Your bike hasn't been missing for long enough. And they just leave. And when he gets up and walks away, it's Dottie asking him a question.
Where you going, Pee Wee?
Where you going, Pee Wee?
Okay. So I captured it because I'm pretty sure she flubbed the line and said, where you going, Pee Pee? Because it sounds like Pee Pee to me. Listen again. Tell me if you hear that.
Where you going, Pee Wee?
Most definitely.
And I think they just kept it in there.
They didn't have time. They're like, yeah, well, we'll keep. You want to do it again? No. I've never noticed that.
Clint Eastwood out there directing. Nope, one take. Let's go.
Nah, that's it. Let's go. Keep it moving. As we've mentioned, very low budget. In
Mhm.
fact, all the locations were within 100 miles of Warner Brothers studio,
Yeah,
which means they did not go to the real Alamo because they couldn't afford it.
right.
So I don't know. I don't know if that was a state, like a sound stage or what. I don't know where that Alamo came from.
Oh,
But
I don't
everything
remember.
else was just within 100 miles. It was just random spots. The dinosaurs are in Cabazon,
Yep.
California, which I've been to. That was explicitly I gotta go there.
Oh yeah. No, that would
um,
be a great place to go.
and so yeah, again, so they probably just didn't have the time or the money.
No, I mean a $6 million budget. Even
Oh
back
my
in
goodness.
'85, that's nothing for a feature film. So that's how you can tell. Like again, Burton was cheap, right? You didn't have to pay a lot for the script. A lot of your actors are there's some known names in here, but they're not like huge stars, with the exception maybe of Morgan Fairchild and James Brolin. We'll get to them
Oh yeah,
because I
yeah,
loved that.
yeah.
But like,
Oh, actually, I know the story. There's a story of how they pulled that off. Funny enough,
oh, you
um,
tell.
yeah, it's they were filming Goonies. Pee Wee went to the Goonies set.
Oh, right.
They were
I
filming
heard about
Goonies at the
that.
same time,
Mhm.
and who's in Pee Wee's Big Adventure? Who's
James
the you just
Brolin.
said James. Josh is in Goonies.
Yeah.
And he just asked his dad, like, "Hey, Dad, can you do this movie?" And that's how they got Daddy Brolin,
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
he met the kids at freaking Goonies, which was filming, I guess, across the lot or something. By the way,
That's fantastic.
usually my number 2 movie pick.
Oh, Goonies is great.
Yeah, sometimes I'm moving around, but it's usually Pee Wee and Goonies. But yeah, that was it. It was just, hey, Josh, can you ask your dad?
That's
Um,
that's awesome. And it's honestly perfect for what they did at the end. I want to hold off on that just for a little bit because it's a fun thing to talk about. But like some of the people that show up early on or throughout the movie, like Monty Landis played Mario. Francis Buxton.
Francis.
First of all, Pee Wee, if you notice, he gets the little fortune when he's getting his weight. I think he weighs himself and then he goes to like a different machine and gets a fortune and it says, "Don't leave the house today." And he's like,
Yep.
whatever. Should have listened. He left the house. Look what happened. But he goes outside and he meets Francis. Mark Holton playing Francis Buxton. All right, first off, I love Francis because he's wearing monogrammed coveralls.
Francis is the best. Also, Francis is a 40-year-old man.
Yes. Yes. That's phenomenal because we have just a different guy, a different grown man under, that's just a case of Arrested Development. But in a little bit different way because he's just a little more of a brat. But it cracked me up like that there's 2 of these guys here and they're basically feuding over this wonderful bike. It's such a silly premise, but the fact that he's wearing like shop coveralls, but they're really nice and they've got his initials monogrammed on them was good enough. When he came back later in the movie wearing a different set was even better. Like it's just what he wears all the time. And then after everything goes down initially and Pee Wee goes to the house, his dad is wearing the same thing too. Which is fantastic. And his dad, Mr. Buxton, played by Ed Harley. That's a voice that you don't mistake. Like he started talking. I didn't recognize the face right away, but he started talking. I was like, oh yeah. I love his
What
voice.
gets me every time is Pee Wee breaks into the house. Oh, well, before we even get to that, they freaking Odd Job is their
Yep.
doorman.
Yeah. Professor Toru Tanaka. He popped up. I'm like, okay, all right. That's a good little cameo there.
And he also wrestled, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he was a wrestler
Was he
for a
another
while.
wrestler?
Yeah.
So he breaks into the house,
Which is a great
basically
gag.
That's what another. I swear I say this 1,000. Oh, it's my favorite. Oh, that's my favorite. Oh, that's my favorite. They can't all be my favorite, or maybe they are. But the little knocker thing cracks me up every time.
Well, and
But
it's set up so well because the music is playing and he's on a mission, and then everything matches his knock at the door initially matches the music perfectly. And then everything cuts and we get the reveal of the butler. And they do 2 of those, and then the third time it's knocking, you open up the door and it's just a little machine knocking on the door. And Pee Wee
which
running across the back of the shot.
where do you get it from? Nobody knows. Like you mentioned the magic shop.
Yep.
Everything he buys at the magic shop, he eventually uses through the course of the movie.
Yeah.
So he didn't buy, like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, didn't go to the magic shop yet. So I guess that was something else he had or purchased.
Yeah. No, he's just always got that on hand in case he needs it.
But what cracks me up is he breaks into the house. He basically tries to drown this man. And at the end, once they sort it out, he's like, would anyone like some gum?
Yeah.
And they're legitimately like, oh yeah, thank you. Like, why would you?
It's so good because like the world that this movie inhabits, Pee Wee is basically harmless. And yet he's also like, because that scene, I had to get this because it just cracked me up. He locks the door because he's waded into the pool in his little gray suit, which was already hilarious. And then he runs over and locks the door and turns around to him and yells,
Go ahead and scream your head off. We're miles from where anyone can hear you.
maniacal. And then full on just dives back into that pool.
And tries to kill the man. I mean, there's really no way around it.
No, exactly.
You took my bike. Now you must die. Yeah. So again, everything, every little part, every little scene just cracks me up.
Oh.
So he gets him with the gum, like, oh, would you like some gum? And apparently they were just fiending for gum.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Just trick gum too. I love that. Like,
yeah,
I think it was spicy.
Mint or juice or a fruit, please. Yeah, I'm that guy too. When I just tell people I'm just going to recite the whole movie. Just buckle up. Back to the magic shop. I want to make sure I'm clear. He uses everything but one thing. They cut out the boomerang bow tie. So he purchased a boomerang bow tie, and he doesn't use it. There's a deleted scene where he goes through this Wild West part, and they just didn't use it. So
but
yeah,
that happens.
Don't send me mail. And you're wrong. He didn't use everything. Yeah,
he did. We just didn't see him use it.
There you go.
But yeah, so then he finds out. How does he find out that the bike is going to Texas? Who told? Oh,
yes. He goes to the fortune teller. He gets desperate.
Yeah.
And goes to the fortune teller. So a couple other cameos. At some point, I don't remember if it's before or after, we find out Francis did steal the bike. Well, somebody stole the bike for Francis.
Mm-hmm.
So Francis is in on it. And there's this guy, this like 50s.
It's like a 50s greaser. Yeah.
And he's like, fine, I'll get rid of it. That's actually the bully from Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah. Yep.
And it sounds just like him. Like they didn't even try to change. It's the same voice. I forgot the bully's name. It was a puppet. It's a weird puppet.
Yeah.
It might have been.
What was his name?
Might have been France. Was it Francis?
I'm looking. Pee Wee's Big Adventure. No, Where's Pee Wee's Playhouse? Come on. Couldn't have been that long.
Randy. It's Randy.
Randy. Yes.
Yeah. And fucking Randy is the one that messed up the ice cream soup because they were making the ice cream and Randy was like, it needs more chocolate. He kept jumping on the sorry. It's etched in my memory. But it's the same guy, the same voice. And then there's something that tips Pee Wee off to go to I think he sees a sign or something to go to the fortune teller. He's down and out.
Because he's down and out, and we get the awesome shot of him walking in the rain. Like it's a shot of somebody walking in an alley, and the silhouette on the wall looks like a vampire but it's just Pee-wee walking in the rain. And then like the thugs accost him at one point, and I think one of them's Tim Burton.
Yep, I was gonna say, you know who that is, right? He comes up to him and Pee-wee hisses.
Yep.
You know,
I mean, look, I do
because.
that a lot, you know.
And
but
so yeah, he goes to the fortune teller.
yes, which I loved the fortune teller, because she's every charlatan fortune teller trope. And it's perfect, right down to like, I can do this much for you, or for this much I can do this, or for $50 I can tell you everything. And he's pulling money out of his wallet, and she just grabs the wallet and is like sifting through it to find information and like pulling stuff off the walls and words and all that to give him stuff. So she tells him, that's right, she tells him that it's in Texas at the Alamo, because there was
The
something
Alamo.
Alamo on the wall.
In the basement.
The basement of the Alamo is where his bike is. So he's got to head for that. And then we get the wonderful, like, I just loved the whole trying to hitchhike scene and nobody stopping. Just every car driving by, including when he pulls out the giant fake thumb. And he ends up just laying on the side of the road when that car comes by, and it's some dude on the run. So why he picked him up, I have no idea at all. But Mickey.
That's right, Mickey. I almost forgot his name.
Mickey picks him up, and Mickey cracked me up. Mickey was killing me. Because that whole scene just keeps getting more ridiculous. You know, he's having him hold the wheel while he lights a cigarette, and he's talking to him about stuff. He like turns the radio on, and then no, never mind, turn that off, because it's news about whatever he's doing. The same 57 Chevy followed them for miles, by the way. Every time he would look in the rearview mirror, there was a 57 Chevy back there that I kept seeing. I thought that was going to play into it. It never did.
Yeah, you overthought it. It's like,
I
they
did.
just didn't have a lot of cars. They just, like, I was probably the second assistant director or something.
Yeah, probably. But I loved everything with him, including, so the ridiculousness goes to an 11 when Pee-wee's driving at night and Mickey falls asleep, and like you get the S-curve road coming up, but then like the road signs getting progressively crazier while Mickey's just asleep in the seat next to him. And I thought it was going to be like a dream sequence too. I was thinking Pee-wee would like wake up and they're just on the road. No, this was really what was going on in the movie. They went off the side of the road, and at one point he pulls up the rag top for the convertible they're driving, so it's like a parachute. Which, given some of the movies that I've been watching recently for another show that I've got coming out soon, felt less ridiculous because of that. So,
do I predict a Fast and Furious episode in your future?
Possibly. I would say you probably would win that bet. So,
I mean, to be fair, there's 10 of them, so like the odds are in my favor.
True.
That at some point there's a Fast and Furious overlap. But yeah, they get to the bottom. I think Mickey just is like, forget this, I'm out.
No, in fact, what he says is even better, because he gets back in the car and he just tells Pee-wee,
Arrivederci, baby.
and drives away. Oh, that got me. Oh, like I backed that up to listen to it 3 or 4 times. It was too good. Arrivederci, baby. He's like getting a little Dean Martin in there.
And then that's it. Like, okay.
And he's gone.
Bye, Mickey. Yeah. Then the one of the things he buys is the light. I think it's lights on his glasses.
Oh yeah, headlight glasses.
Yes. Where?
Well, because the scene is when Mickey drives away, it's really like, this movie does show that Tim Burton's got some good directing instincts and some good ability, like to compose shots with working with his cinematographer, because Mickey drives away and all we're seeing are taillights. And then, you know, Pee-wee's lit just red, but then it all goes black. It's like, it's night. It's very much night. And I didn't anticipate an animated scene, even though the animation is just white eyes on a black background. But like, yeah, that's going on and he's hearing everything. And I love scenes like that where you're hearing like nature and somebody stuck out there. Maybe it's just a dog. It's like, that's definitely not just a dog. But then when he puts on the headlight glasses, so we just get the one shot of all the animals around him. It's
and
such a
and that's
good
it.
bit.
Like it feels like so much work for that 4 seconds,
Yeah.
but it's worth it, you know.
Oh, it's a good payoff.
And to my understanding, they just like filmed each animal separate and just like layered a bunch of stuff because it's so quick you don't see it.
Yeah.
So they just like added a bunch of layers of the different animals and then a crap ton of noise.
It's so good. And that leads us into the one thing that I had at least some like I knew of this movie. I knew of, it was him trying to get back his stolen bike. But the only other thing I really knew about it was Large Marge.
It's probably I feel like the most famous part.
Because I guarantee you, had I seen this as a child, let's say it hits home video in 86, 87, I see it somewhere in that range where I'm in that like 7 to 10 range. Scarred for life.
So as a kid, I would have to turn my head. For the longest time, it was obvious. I would get scared. I would turn my head. My parents would laugh at me. They're, oh, here it comes. And it got me every single time.
It's because it's coming out of nowhere. Like he gets in the truck and she just immediately goes into this story 10 years ago on a night just like tonight. Like it's so well set up. But then the claymation and the face is just horrifically grotesque and it's out of nowhere and then it's over.
When they pulled him up, he looked like this. Very Beetlejuice-esque.
Yes.
There's a scene early in Beetlejuice where he's facing what you see the back of his head.
Yep.
And he does something and you see like the snakes and stuff. And it reminded me of that. Reminded me of after the fact, looking back. I was like, oh yeah, like I could see, very Beetlejuice-esque thing.
That works so well, that bit in Beetlejuice, because they never show it to you. So you only see it from the backside and you just get the reactions to it, which is phenomenal. This, you see it, but it like her face deforms so much, adding in the sound effect and the like weird laugh that she does too. It's just
eyes bulging out.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then that's it. Large Marge just drops him at a truck stop and says, tell him Large Marge sent you, and he goes inside. Which leads to just more awesome interactions, like the way when he goes inside and he just says that Large Marge sent me.
Large Marge sent me.
I'm always a fan of a fork drop.
Yep.
It's also a coffee cup.
Mm-hmm.
What cracks me up with that is they're like, Large Marge, what? And he's like, yeah. And they tell the same story again with the same music. It was a night just like tonight. Like, oh, here we go.
And just him going on this crazy adventure all over the place, running into random people. It's so much fun. Like, because he gets there, he does that, and he ends up, this is when he finally figures out his wallet's missing. He never got his wallet back from the fortune teller. She just kept it because he can't pay for his food.
That. I don't think I've ever put two and two together.
Oh, really? Because I'm thinking, like, as soon as he said, "Oh, I don't have my wallet," I'm like, "Ooh, she kept it. Oh, that's awful." And so then we get the classic trope of, well, you're going to have to wash dishes to pay for your meal. So again, here's Pee-wee in his suit still, but with this horribly stained apron and a hairnet. And I'll tell you, for Pee-wee being an asexual person, the ladies love him.
Oh, well, yeah,
Dottie's all about him.
This is, I believe at this point, it's Yvonne, right?
Simone.
Simone. I mixed up. Miss Yvonne is the most beautiful woman in Puppetland.
Yes.
In Playhouse.
Yes.
Simone, something for the French names.
Yeah.
Yes. Old Simone, who's always wanted to go to France. Which, like, why would you tell this random stranger, like, this, here's all my stuff. But to your point, they just, he's non-threatening.
Yeah.
And they want to share their innermost secrets.
That shot of the two of them sitting inside the T-Rex head watching the sunrise, the final shot of that felt so Tim Burton to me, of just the two of them and like the rows of teeth, the 2 rows of teeth looking out. I was just like, this is a Tim Burton shot right here.
And it's actually one of my favorite scenes because they're talking and she's like, oh, he's want to go to France, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, why don't you? And she was like, but da-da-da. And he says, and it's again, one of my favorites, so profound. Everybody has a big butt.
Oh, and I might have captured that.
Come on, Simone, let's talk about your big butt.
Yes. Man, it's like, you know me. It's my favorite line because it really, it's silly. It's haha talking about her big behind, but also it, to me at least, I'm like, that's profound. Everybody does have that thing holding them up.
Yep. It's got layers, man. On top of that, add the layer in of Andy outside hearing him say, let's talk about your big butt.
With the bone.
Yes. Oh, so good. Oh man, there's so many of those moments too. And when he gets to the Alamo, finally, and he's just so eager, and the tour guide is like, no, just hold questions. She's gonna do her tour. Like, she has got her script. She's gonna follow that script. And it's brilliant. And then at the end of it, when he asks about the basement and there is no basement, it's this feels like a kid retelling the story at this moment, because everyone starts laughing at him for asking about a basement at the Alamo. Not like, no, there isn't a basement. That's a weird thing to ask. Like, out and out pointing and laughing at him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this dummy.
So fun. And him like running away from that. I half expected to get they're all going to laugh at you, like, echo in his head for some reason.
It was, they would eat corn, also known as maize.
Yes, Jan Hooks, phenomenal.
And everybody in the tour is like so engrossed.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is a Pueblo.
So
can everybody say Pueblo?
When he finally, then then he's like giving up, right? At that point, that's our second act, kind of closer. I'm going to give up, I'm never going to find my bike. And that's when he sees the news story, I think, as he's getting ready to take a bus back from Texas. Oh, because he calls Dottie. That's where he calls.
So let's see. Yeah. So he goes to the bus station. He calls Dottie. He goes, guess where I'm at? And the stars at night are big and bright.
Okay, I captured that because that cracked me up, where he's like, I'm in Texas.
Honest. Listen, I'll prove it.
The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite is when she puts, or he's like, let me talk to Spec. All right, Spec. All right, Spec.
Having a full-on conversation with Spec. I loved it. And
then Andy shows back up. So
right. Yeah. And chases him. I'll tell you though, John, that guy could move for his size. I was impressed.
I'm sure as a wrestler he was in athletic. Yeah. And yeah, so Dottie goes to France, just based on this random stranger's conversation. I don't know where she had the money. I don't know where she's going on a bus. I think it's literally a bus to Paris.
Yeah.
And it's the famous au revoir, Pee-wee, au revoir.
Yep.
Which I still say to people. They have no idea what I'm talking about. And then, he has to run away from Andy.
Oh, that's when he hides in the trailer and comes out in the cowboy gear. And Phil Hartman is the announcer at the rodeo.
I did not know that. According
to what I was reading, he's in there because he has a cameo right at the end. But he also did that voice. That's a funny.
Like, right in the something bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Volcano or something. Riding Volcano. He's going for a state record. because like Pee-wee, who at the beginning of the movie weighs himself that morning, so he is legitimately a 98-pound weakling. But at the same time, you know that when he gets scared on that bull, he will hang on like a drowning cat. Is phenomenal. So yeah, like it ends there, and that's when he sees the news thing that a kid actor, Kevin, was it Kevin Malone?
That's right.
Kevin Morton, played by Jason Hervey.
From the Wonder Years.
Got the bike. Yeah, and when they showed his face, I'm like, oh, it's him. It's a little
Kid
younger,
from the Wonder Years.
but it's a kid from the Wonder Years. So he's got the bike. So Pee-wee's like, I'm gonna get my bike back.
So funny story about that guy. He was the older brother in the Wonder Years to of course Fred Savage, the great Fred Savage. But then as the show went on, Jason Hervey just wasn't a very tall guy. Like he's kind of a short guy.
Yep.
And Fred Savage outgrew him. So it was kind of awkward in the show.
Yeah, that'll happen.
But at this point, yes, he's the snobby actor getting the bike from
So him getting the bike, like, and Pee-wee learns where the bike is, so I'm gonna head for the studio and get it back, is great. And I love how Pee-wee sneaks in with Milton Berle's entourage.
Laughing.
Because he sees, like, it's clever, right? Because he's gonna try to get in and he sees the guard stopping somebody because they don't have a pass. So he's trying to figure it out, and he just slides right in with Milton Berle and his entourage, laughing the whole time. So that's
like where did they get Milton Berle for a like
who knows?
You can do this cameo real quick for Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
You know what? I don't think he had any clue what it was at all. It didn't matter. He got paid for 15 minutes of work. Probably got paid for a day. What? Who cares? I'm Milton Berle.
I bet you're right. Yep.
So yeah, he sneaks his way onto the lot, and then when you see the character of Kevin on the set, is one of my favorite tropes in all of movies, which is the actor that is just a complete, total diva. Especially when it's a child actor like that, where he's barking at people and he's talking about she's late on all her lines, and I've been ready since take one. I've been here since call time. All this kind of, it's so good.
Roll. Then it's made even better because in the show they're creating, it's nuns. So
yes,
he's yelling at these nuns.
I loved it, and then Pee-wee disguises as a nun, works his way into the scene. And I love the way he gets the bike. You've inspired me to do something right now, and hops on the bike and just rides off.
It's funny because it's so like after all that, after an hour probably in some change, that he just grabs it. There's really
just grab
nothing,
it and run.
Yep, classic.
And then this chase. Okay, so a while back, I was a guest on a podcast called Two Ps on a Podcast, where we did movie chases. We ranked our top 5 chases in a movie. So some of mine at the time were like, there's a car chase in Ronin I absolutely love.
Classic. Yes.
There's the chase towards the end of Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a classic for me. There's one everyone talks about the chases in The Fugitive, which is phenomenal. The Fugitive is great, but the sequel to The Fugitive, U.S. Marshals, also has some really cool chases in it. And there was one in particular that I really liked in that. But now that I have actually seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, that is on my top 5 list. It should be.
It's a great chase.
It is unreal how good this chase is from start to finish. Like the second he jumps on the bike and takes off, and it's just one thing after another. Like all the studio security guys running out, unplugging the golf carts was fantastic. All the different movie sets he goes on. There's the beach one. There's the Christmas one. The Godzilla movie.
Godzilla, and it's actually Godzilla. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's it's not a giant dinosaur. Like, oh, that's Godzilla.
Yeah, it wasn't legally
and Mothra.
distinct. Yeah. Not legally distinct giant lizard. Nope, Godzilla, Mothra. this whole chase just tickled me.
And I think
Front
I'm
to back.
convinced the music is reminiscent of the Wizard of Oz
Mhm.
when they're on the bike
No.
in the Wizard of Oz.
1000%. The second that music started,
Okay.
I'm like, oh, are they playing the Wizard of Oz music? And then it wasn't exactly that. But I'm like, Elfman
Yeah,
was
inspired. Yep.
definitely inspired by it there. But this whole chase is just genius, start to finish. So many great gags. It keeps going, but it never goes too far. Like this movie definitely got up to the line on a couple of the annoying gags without ever stepping over them. But the chase is spot on all the way through. It's great, and I love
And
I love a
that's
good
where they cut
backlot
out the
chase.
Wild West part.
Okay,
So there's a part where they drive through the Wild West. So to your point, like they trimmed it up just a little bit, just a little bit. I, as a kid, had never heard of Twisted Sister. So that was my first exposure to them and Dee Snider. And I was like, what in the world? So it legitimately turned me on to them.
so I love IMDb trivia when it comes to like so and so was considered for a role. Because it's always like any action movie from 1983 to 1993 will say Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were considered for the role. But the one that got me on this movie was initially they wanted Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers for that scene. That was going to be the music video, and Petty didn't want to do it. And so that's how they got Dee Snider. I don't know if that's true or not, but I want to kind of see, I wanted to slip to the alternate universe where it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers just to see what they would do for the music video that he interrupts.
I just can't imagine anything else than Dee Snider in his full regalia laying on top of a car. Like it just fits so perfect to me.
Also, Dee Snider is, I think the perfect word for what he's doing on top of that car is writhing. He's writhing on the hood of that car. And then just the look on his face when they pull up to it and he's and he gets out and like they run. It's so good. I wasn't expecting that one at all. Did not have Dee Snider on my bingo card when this movie started. So
I think the song is like burn in hell or something. It's like, you're gonna burn in hell.
yeah.
Fear no evil. To like, oh, okay. This got serious.
And we did mention, but we kind of skipped past it. Before he gets to the movie studio, he does end up at the biker bar with the great tequila dance.
Oh my goodness.
Such a
and
fun
that
scene.
also another famous, like the notable part from that movie.
I know I've seen clips of that, and I've seen him do like that dance on stage as well, because it's a very, very notable little dance that he does. But I guess him hitting his head when he gets up on the bar, that was a legit accident. Like he wasn't supposed to do that. And so him hitting his head and ducking like that, which how he didn't fall, I don't know. In
these
those
giant,
shoes.
what are those, platforms or something?
Platform heels.
That he takes
crazy.
from the bar back because the guy was just short. He was just a short guy that wanted big shoes. Like, all right. That part, the tequila dance is famous. It overshadows my favorite part, which is something I also say a lot, when he's trying to get to the phone and he's like, excuse me, and these guys are like, what the hell? Like, excuse me.
So good. So good. When they let him leave and then he accidentally knocks down all the bikes. And so they grab him and throw him down on the table and they're going through, we should kill him. No, we should do this, then kill him. And like, it just keep adding on to it. And then him from the table, you should let him go.
I think we should let him go. It gets me every time. That's why it's my favorite movie. I just talking about it legitimately cracks me up. There's so many funny scenes, one after the other, after the other, after the other.
And it's, for me, it's because it is not in any way mean-spirited or punching down. All of the humor is, there's like, it's not cheesy. I mean, it is cheesy, but like it's not overly schmaltzy, but it's also wholesome at the same time.
It's not, none of it's mean.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's all family friendly. You know, you can watch it with a young child.
Oh yeah,
I think that the worst thing is D. Snyder in the car, you know.
probably, and even that by today's standards is like nothing.
Oh,
So,
exactly, you know. So, yeah, I don't know, it's just like I don't know, just good, like pure natured comedy. Um
and you know, I've talked about this before with people, and I love the conversation because like for me, comedy doesn't have to be. There's no one type of good comedy. You can work Blue. You can be, you know, Bill Hicks or Sam Kinison in that era, George Carlin, and work Blue and be really, really funny. Right? George Carlin for me is probably my favorite stand-up
he's
comedian
one of
of
the
all
best.
time.
Yeah.
You know, Lewis Black, same thing. Like Lewis Black is on my Mount Rushmore of stand-up comics because the man was just a genius.
I saw him a couple months ago in
Oh,
Austin, here in Austin.
that'd be. I
And
got
he
to
was still
see
good.
him. I got to see him in 2016. That was the last time I got to see him. I think he's retiring from the road, unfortunately.
This was that, so it was his I think he called it Goodbye, not Yellow Brick Road, but Goodbye Angry Brick Road. So it was a play on that.
Nice.
And yeah, so it's his last road tour. So I was like, I've never seen him. I gotta go.
Oh,
And he was still good. You can tell he's getting up there in age,
oh, sure.
you know, but
Hey.
he's still doing it.
First time I heard him 25 years ago now, I think it was.
He was old.
He was already old, and my friends and I joked at the time, like, this guy's not going to have a long career because he's going to die of a heart attack on stage.
Have a stroke. Yeah. Exactly. You know.
Just a massive coronary right there, and he fooled us all. But like you can be that kind of comedian in work, but also you can be Sinbad, who can work completely clean and still be hilarious. Which
and
in
that's
some
what
ways
this
is harder to do. And this is that level, that
is.
style. Yeah. Love. I mean, and look, Paul Rubens was, you mentioned how like early versions of the stage show were very adult themed. But he was able to figure out how to take the character in this direction and make it have a broader appeal to the point where he got a Saturday morning show. Because Paul Rubens could do all sorts of stuff. Like I love him in Mystery Men. Cracks me up in that. Absolutely. Also might be a future episode of this show. But like
he was in Buffy the movie.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Which
there's
was
another episode for you. If you would.
Was that before or after his big controversy? I can't remember if Buffy was before or not.
I feel like it was before, but I don't remember.
Because that was the other thing. Remember. You know, if you
we can get to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's a thing, right? Like his career took a huge hit in the early 90s for him going to an adult theater and getting caught flogging the dolphin in the theater. Is supposedly what was going on. Was that proven? I don't really remember.
I don't know. I don't know if they could prove it. I don't think he fought it, if I remember correctly. I think that was what he was charged with, and I think he just pled guilty. So for all intents and purposes, it based on him pleading guilty, that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to do that? No. In my opinion, even to this day, like, is there a lot worse? Yeah. To this day, I'll still argue with people. I'm like, we have people that like beat up, you know, like athletes that beat up women and stuff that get away with it more than Pee Wee did. They really, I feel like they rang him through the ringer for some reason.
It was a huge thing at the time. It was 91 was when it happened. He was arrested in 91, and he basically it stalled his career. And look, did he do something wrong? Yes. Did it hurt other people? Probably not at all. And we've seen so much worse. Like, he didn't deserve the backlash that he got.
Agreed.
I don't
100%.
think at all. And to his credit, he just sort of took it on the chin and said, all right, and kind of retreated for a while. He did a few things. Like, he showed up in Batman Returns, him and actually Simone from this movie. Diane Salinger as Oswald Cobblepot's parents. And he did, a few things here and there, but he largely didn't do much for about 10 years, major public stuff. And that's a bummer because we kind of got deprived of a lot of really good years of Paul Rubens' career. That bums me out because
I definitely think so. Yeah, and and then a lot of people that didn't watch Pee-wee, whether it be the movie or the TV show, didn't understand the character.
Mhm.
And I think they thought he was actually, I've heard he at some point thought he was the character, but I think they thought he was the character, and they thought he was kind of pervy and weird, and
yeah,
I just don't think it was understood. And so I think that's, to your point, why it became a lot bigger deal than it was. People, they want to make news. They want it to be worse than it is. But whatever. Yeah, we definitely got robbed of I think more Paul Rubens' other roles.
Yeah. A few other clips I got of this movie because there was a ton. I could have clipped a lot more than I did. I had to kind of stop myself. But firmly placing this movie in 1985 is when a kid on a bike says,
Radical!
Loved it. I mean, it was so good. All the weird, quirky like noises and stuff that the character of Pee Wee Herman makes is, he's got his laughs, but also just like the beginning when he's Pee Wee and his oversized props too. Giant toothbrush, the big butter knife he had that was like bending as he was putting butter on his toast. The whole opening sequence with his breakfast getting made while he's like getting ready was cracking me up, with the Abraham Lincoln flipping pancakes and they're just sticking to the ceiling. But like the brushing his teeth and he's kind of going to do that when I brush my teeth now, I think.
And the tape, for some reason.
Yeah, for whatever random reason, just taping his face like that. I also like, this was Dottie made this little noise at one point. And I don't know why, that just, the little scoff she made just made me laugh.
Because she's annoyed. She's annoyed with Pee-wee. She's over his crap.
Totally. I get laughs a lot. I like to capture laughs. They always just tickle me. But Pee-wee, because he has such a distinct couple of different laughs, we get. The dream at the beginning when he's riding his bike and he's beating all the Tour de France guys on his bike, and just the way he laughs. Oh, it was so good. This was, so I mentioned how the movie, and Pee-wee in general, has a tendency to like get right up to that line. Because he's, by nature, Pee-wee Herman is a grating and annoying character. He's supposed to be.
I will begrudgingly agree. I do agree. You're right.
But it's part of what makes Pee-wee funny. And Paul Rubens is a genius because he knew how to do that character and how to take it right up to the point where you almost wanted to punch him in the face and then back away from it. So he knew how to toe that line. But like, this scene was the one that got me.
Then you're crazy. I know you are, but what am I?
You're a nerd.
I know you are, but what am I?
You're an idiot.
I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what am I?
I know you are, but what am I? Infinity.
No, I'm not. You are.
It's the
I know as a kid I said that 100 times, and I apologize to like.
We all did. If you grew up in that era, that was just a thing you did as a kid. Like you couldn't help it. But it was that particular scene as it was unfolding the first time. I'm like, oh, please, no more. And then it tied it up at the perfect amount of time. And I'm like, okay.
Another one I like is when he's like, it's a mystery. It's like a sweater that you just keep knitting and knitting and knitting. And they're like, all right, Pee-wee.
That whole sequence where he calls everybody to his house.
Exhibit X. Like,
we've been here for 3 hours. It's so good.
With the single light bulb on the string. Like,
yeah. He's got the map of San Francisco in the background. So I played Arrivederci for sure. Oh, when he is trying to find out what Mickey was in jail for, because he sees the handcuffs. He's like, "What'd you do?"
You know those little do not remove under the penalty of law labels they put on mattresses?
Yeah.
Well, I cut one of them off.
Another gag that sadly got run into the ground because everybody did it at some point. But like, if you did something comedically between, I would say, 1980 and 1995, that joke worked in somewhere. The do not remove under penalty of law.
Oh, yes.
That was the hardest criminal in jail was the guy who removed the tag from a mattress. So good. I also like Dottie trying to talk to Pee-wee, tell him that she likes him.
I like you.
That's the thing, I like you too.
Daddy!
There's a lot of things about me you don't know anything about, Daddy. Things you wouldn't understand. Things you couldn't understand. Things you shouldn't understand.
Classic. And it's funny you clip that part, because I think that's the funnier line. It's the emphasis on the things you shouldn't understand.
Yep.
That gets me every time. Then right after that is the more famous line, which is I'm a rebel, I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel.
Yes.
But it's the leading up that I think is funnier, but it's just not as quote worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the rebel one is the one that keeps coming up later. That's the one they reuse, like in the movie within a movie. So at the end, after everything that happens with that chase, which is again brilliant, and it ends, the head of Warner Brothers wants to make a movie based on Pee-wee's adventure, and so they do.
I love it because it's such a like Deus Ex Machina. Like he gets the bike, security gets, and they're like, "Oh, we love the story. We're making a movie." Mm-hmm. What? Like,
yeah.
Okay,
we're
at page 88. We got to wrap this up.
Yep. So they do the movie, and the movie within a movie cracks me up because number one, James Brolin, right, as P.W. Herman. And I love James Brolin so much. And then Morgan Fairchild as Dottie in the movie. His bike is replaced, like it's a motorcycle now, the X1 motorcycle.
X3, yeah. Which I think what's lost in time is how big James Brolin and Morgan Fairchild were at the time. Like they were superstars, you know.
Yeah. And Pee-wee got a small part in the movie as the hotel clerk, which is a great inside joke because one of his early film roles was playing a hotel clerk in one of the Cheech and Chong movies.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah, it was I think it was the Cheech and Chong, was it Up in Smoke? Either way, like that was one of his Paul Rubens' early film roles. So now he's playing the hotel clerk in the Pee-wee movie. And all right, when you're good at a thing, to make yourself look bad at it is tough to do, but like I think acting is one of those things that like you can get away with because you just ham it up. You do all the things you're not supposed to do, right? Like anytime you see an athlete or a musician in a movie or a TV show and they're supposed to be bad at the thing they do, it's always hard to do that and make it look convincing. But Paul Rubens as Pee-wee in the movie, where he's nervous, he's looking around a lot, he keeps looking right into the camera.
He's mouthing the lines.
That was the one. That was the one that got me, is him mouthing the lines. It was so good. And then he opens up his mouth.
No, nothing right now, Mr. Herman.
And of course, there's the paging Mr. Herman.
Yes.
And it's it killed me. I was laughing so hard at that point. And then it just sort of ends. And I loved, they're getting ready to leave. We get to see, we're right at the kind of towards the end of the movie, and he turns to Dottie and tells her, "Let's leave."
Come on, Dottie, let's go.
Let's go. Don't you want to see the rest of the movie?
I don't have to see it, Dottie. I lived it.
There's so much. So it's a classic ending in so many ways. One, you see everyone again.
Yep.
all of these random
Yes.
characters that they're all back to come to his movie. And whatever they're different, all the hobos are there. Mickey's in jail. He tries to sneak him a
file,
file and a hot dog or something. So everyone comes back. And then it's as romantic an ending as it can be, you know, where they literally ride off in the silhouette, you know, and it like, it's cute. I'm like, oh, you know, and it's just a perfect, sweet ending. And yeah, every time, like I watch him, like, man, it's still my favorite. It's so good.
It really,
you get your Phil Hartman cameo as the news anchor.
Well, because we had to bring Francis back, right? Like Francis comes back in, and it's the classic thing of like, oh, none of this would have happened if it weren't for me. You know, it's like, well, yes, but also you're terrible. And so, and then he wants to sit on the bike and you get the ejector seat. Like, that was great. That was a funny gag.
The BMX kids are there. Like, everyone's back, you know, and having a good time. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't think there will ever be another movie like it. You know, that's the thing. Like, it's so absurd and weird.
That was going to be a question I had for you is, because this movie holds up. It is very funny. It is very just endearing. Do you think you could do something like that again? Or is this a lightning in the bottle? And is it, because I don't want to see Pee Wee Herman come back. That's Paul Rubens' character, right? That would be like somebody else portraying Austin Powers. It's one thing when a character, you know, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. At some point you could do something like an Indiana Jones, because while Harrison Ford is that character, there's something about him that sort of transcends that. But Pee Wee Herman, to take Pee Wee Herman and Paul Rubens apart just wouldn't work. I just don't think
I don't think so. It would have to be its own new thing.
Yes.
And I think with enough time, something will come back in that weird, zany vein. But I don't know if I'll be around to see it. Like, I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
I just wonder, because we don't see like Pee Wee Herman, or Ed Grimley is another one. Martin Short being Ed Grimley. Like, you don't see those characters as much anymore. And I think some of it is, well, I don't know.
I would put Ernest maybe in those,
Ernest is another one
vein if we're doing that. Yeah.
What you do, so there are some YouTube creators that have done this, like Uncle Roger would be one, right? That is a character.
I could see that. I could see that.
So, you know, that's kind of where it's at now, is that they create these characters and do it in YouTube format. So it's a very different, but it's the same kind of idea. They start with these types of characters started with sketches, right? Martin Short started, I think Ed Grimley was Second City, right? I want to say that's where that came from.
Yep. No, you're right. Yep.
Jim Varney created Ernest as like a regional spokesman. was a lot of his early stuff, right? Commercials.
But going back to your point about the lightning in a bottle, I don't think we'll ever get the equivalent of Phil Hartman, Tim Burton, Paul Rubin, and the musician
Danny Elfman.
Boingo. Danny Elfman. All of those pieces have to have come together, you know, and I think they each, without any one of them, I just don't think it would be as good as it was.
No, absolutely. And so this is here's a fun thought experiment. Because have you ever heard of like coaching trees in like the NFL or something, or sports, where it's like, you know, Bill Parcells was the head coach here, and these were his coordinators, and they went on to be head coach.
And they went on to, yes.
So you see like the progression of that. This movie, it didn't create the careers of, but it was the launching point for the careers of Tim Burton, Paul Rubens, Danny Elfman, in a lot of ways, Phil Hartman too. I mean, they came out of the groundlings and all that, but this was what catapulted them. This was that next level thing.
Yeah. Phil Hartman, you know, he hit it big way older. When he got SNL way older than most people, and then went on to do other stuff. But yeah, this was early. And then after this, he did Playhouse. He was Captain Carl. And if we really want to go down that route, then you got Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Curtis.
Yep.
A couple of the kids went on to be big.
It just makes you wonder
So
if this,
yeah, there's a lot that came out of Pee-wee.
if Warner Brothers doesn't take the chance on this weird, goofy script from this guy that's got a silly character he does on stage, hey, let's take a shot, make a movie with it. Oh, this young kid made this weird short Frankenweenie. Get him to do it, sure, why not? And this guy in Oingo Boingo will have him do the music. Like all of these things came together, gave us this phenomenal movie that is a tight 90 minutes, simple little story of just guy trying to get his bike back and the zaniness in there and just going for it, launching these careers. Like you think about that, think about the films we wouldn't have if that had failed or had never started. Like, would we have Beetlejuice? Would we have the comic book movies that were influenced by Tim Burton's Batman, or the musicians and the scores that were influenced by Danny Elfman throughout the last 30 plus almost 40 years? Like,
No, I think that's an amazing point that I've honestly never thought of. There's a lot that certainly I think has been influenced or is because of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And two things I have to add real quick. One, my first ever panel at Dragon Con was about Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Nice.
I had never paneled before. I saw they were having a panel. I was like, I gotta be on that. I was like, and it was magical because I didn't think, I was like, just a couple of us talking about the movie, and there was a room full of people that also loved this movie. And that was my first time ever experiencing something like that. I didn't even think, I thought the panel was a joke. I emailed the guy and said, are y'all really doing this? He was like, yeah, of course we are. I was like, well, I got to be there. And that was the first panel ever. And it opened my mind to a bunch of things. And then I want to say it was the 25th anniversary, 40th anniversary, whatever. A couple years ago, Big Adventure had an anniversary tour. And I had never seen Paul Reubens. I never saw him at a con or anything. So he came to Atlanta and they showed Big Adventure. He did a Q&A, and then they showed some other like Pee-wee at MTV and stuff. Like it was just a whole night of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was literally like 2 days or a day after COVID had started, because I remember thinking like, are they going to cancel this? And they didn't cancel it. And I was like, I got to go. And I went to meet them. You can meet people that back of this particular venue. That sounds so shady, but I went to meet him. He kind of waved and was like, I got to go. And it was because it was COVID, and he was like pretty worried about it. And then come to find out, maybe a year or so later, he passed away. He had some illness. I mean, it might have had cancer. And so everyone was like, yeah, that's why he was super, protective during COVID. And so yeah, got to see him just in time. It was super great. And yeah, favorite movie of all time.
So I have heard that from a lot of people that like this is their favorite Tim Burton movie. And for me, it was always hard to like square that in my head because, here I am thinking Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, Big Fish, Sleepy Hollow is one that holds a special place for me. Like I really like that movie. Say what you want about maybe some of his stuff later on, although I don't hate a lot of it because he's just doing what he wants to do. But man, that early stretch of this movie followed by Beetlejuice, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, and Ed Wood. That is 6 for 6 of just iconic movies. Ed Wood is one that I feel like even though it was up for, won Martin Landau, an Academy Award and all that kind of stuff, I feel like it's a somewhat forgotten one of Burton's movies. People talk about Beetlejuice. They talk about everything else. That was what started his working relationship. No, he had worked with Johnny Depp before that on Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands. I'm partial to Edward Scissorhands. That one just, I just saw it at a certain age. It kind of just hit.
I can see that.
And if I'm talking favorite Tim Burton, I will excuse Big Adventure because it's my all-time favorite. So I'm like, well, let's take that out, But I don't know. Even that's tough. I do love Scissorhands, but Beetlejuice is Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is still funny today. it's really tough. Like I was when Batman came out in 1989, I was 9 years old. I was the perfect mark for that movie. And I can never like take away that sort of experience of that movie for me. So it's hard.
Yeah,
You know,
Batman
maybe
is so good.
maybe if I had seen this younger, it would, because it definitely is high, if for no other reason than the influence and like the creation that it gave us. If we don't get Pee-wee's Big Adventure, we may not get Batman in 1989 because he had to do this in order to get Beetlejuice in order to get that movie. But it's just,
Yeah, bro. I had the gold Batman T-shirt. Like I remember begging my parents, like I gotta get the shirt. Like,
oh yeah, oh. You know, and Tim Burton influenced, I mean, generations of kids, both for good or less good if you want to go down that road. But like Tim Burton helped Henry Selick get things like Nightmare Before Christmas out there, right? That those two working together to get that. It's just amazing. To think that it all came out of this silly movie with
It all starts with Big Adventure.
A weird man child getting his bike stolen by his other weird man child rival.
I mean, when you put it like that,
it sounds so weird to say it, but it just works. It's that good. Oh, Danny Orr mentions in the chat Sweeney Todd as well. Another great one that he did.
Yeah, another guy. Yeah, Tim Burton has a lot of good movies. Like, let's be real.
He
You
does.
know, like I like Big Fish is great. It's just not one of my favorites, but it's not because it's bad. It's just there's so many other ones.
Yeah, it's hard
know,
to pick one.
And I'm not rewatching Big Fish that many times. Like I just can't. My heart can't handle it. So, but yeah, again, I mean, say what you will. It all started
even
Big Adventure.
Beetlejuice. I just went and saw that last year. I enjoyed
it.
I had a good time with it. So, but it all started with Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and now I can say I've seen it. So, thank you, Tony, for getting me to watch this movie.
Rest in peace, Paul Rubens.
Yes,
favorite movie forever. One of these days I might get a tattoo. Like if I don't have any tattoos, I've always debated like, what would I get? I was like, I don't know. It might have to be.
You get the bike.
Have to be Pee-wee, but I don't know. Yeah, the bike. Get a sweater. You just keep knitting and knitting and knitting around your arm.
That'd be perfect. This was a great choice. Thank you for getting me to watch it. Thank you for coming on. Finally, it took me way too long to get you on this show.
Hey man, much like the movie, you know, just the stars had to align, so
yeah,
it worked out.
It did.
I'm always happy to talk Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I'd do it again tomorrow if you want me to. And thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Absolutely. What do you got? Anything you're working on you want to let people know about?
You know, I have every once in a blue moon, I'll record an episode of the In Addition podcast with some other friends from Dragon Con.
Okay.
So follow that, keep an eye out. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. And just come find me in person. I'll just come hang out in person.
Definitely.
I've been getting off of the socials, and yeah, if you can find me, just be like, hey, you're the guy from the Pee-wee thing. I'll turn around.
There you go. Awesome. Well, if you enjoyed this show and this conversation, definitely come back Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time here at twitch.tv/tvstravis. I do it all the time. Next episode will not be live streamed, but it will be a lot of fun. I talked with Meredith Patterson about the movie La La Land. Is the next episode. I had not seen it. She hadn't seen it. So we both watched it and chatted about that. It was a fun conversation. And
that's a good movie. I love La La Land.
Yeah, I had a really good time with it. I'll say that. Outside of that, listen to the episode. Let me know what you think. But that's what's coming up next. I've got some more really fun episodes on the way. And in a little over a month from the recording of this, I will be in Las Vegas at the Canyon Room at the Plaza Hotel for TMS Vegas, and we're having a podcast day. I will be doing this show there live with my friend Steven Adams, and I'm making him watch Smokin' Aces, and we're going to talk about that. I can't wait for his reaction to that movie. So,
bro, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but that's so funny, and I'm sorry to mess up your wrap up.
No.
I saw Smoking Aces at the theater in the plaza where the bike shop is in Santa Monica. That was the
awesome
story of when I got there and I was like, I know this place. We were going to a theater to go see Smoking Aces. I swear
That's
to God,
incredible.
Wouldn't make that up.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So
I didn't even remember until you said that. I was like, I've seen that. Oh yeah.
See, it all comes full circle. It all connects. It all comes back. So that's what's coming up. And if you like this show as well, check out tvstravis.com. We'll give you links to this show, other podcasts that I do. There's links to merchandise there. I got my goofy logo on t-shirts and coffee cups. Or you can go to the Patreon, patreon.com/WYHS. My patrons help me to do things like the live show in Vegas or back at DragonCon this coming year. I will be there. And it's because of patrons that I'm able to do things like that. So thank you so much. If you are a patron, you also get access to my first watch diaries. I am halfway through Star Wars Ahsoka on those. There'll be a new episode of that coming out soon as well. So definitely check all that out. But Tony, thank you. We're gonna have to do this again. I'm gonna find something you haven't seen. We're gonna get you.
I'll watch a movie anytime.
Excellent.
Anytime.
So until next time and La La Land, just remember to enjoy your movies, be excellent to each other, and don't let your bike get stolen.
Have a nice day.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
Her laugh was great. I loved her.
Oh man, everything about that movie. What is that dramatic ass outro?